there's just something off. There's something wrong right now.
We welcome you to the show.
Hola there, my beautiful friends, and welcome. I started off today by being cozy in bed, drinking a rooibos tea, doing some journaling, and once I managed the strength to finally make it out of bed for good on this day, I cut up an orange, enjoyed that, and I wasn't particularly hungry on this morning, so this was a late breakfast, early lunch situation. I made this bowl in the last vlog that I posted. It was absolutely delicious and a super fun vlog, and it has sesame crusted tofu with rice and other veggies. I also have a new obsession with Thai tea. It is so gorgeous. I had a Thai tea latte when I was in Thailand, and when I bought this Thai tea, I didn't know that it was going to be the exact same thing, but the color is just so beautiful, and it makes me very happy. On this night, I had a friend over for dinner, so we made a little pit stop to pick up some chocolate cake, and then I got cooking once I got home. Sweating out some onions and mushrooms in a pan with a little bit of salt and olive oil. And once all the delicious juices were at the bottom of the pot, I threw a couple cloves of garlic in there, along with a small jalapeno. I should say half of a small jalapeno. I don't know why I didn't throw the whole thing in there. I still have jalapenos in the fridge to this day. I also threw some balsamic vinegar, paprika, oregano, coriander seed, and cumin. Had that on low heat, and then started making a little salsa moment. Just chopped up a bunch of little cherry tomatoes that I had because none of the Roma tomatoes or any other tomatoes in the grocery store looked good. I also threw some fresh white onion, cilantro, and a little red onion as well. The reason I did both the colored onions was just because I didn't realize I had a red onion in the house, so I would have done all red onion. However, it is what it is. Now let's make a little creamy sauce. I'm mixing half of an avocado along with some vegan mayo, a little salt, garlic powder, and some lemon's juice. You can 100% do lime. The limes just didn't look great in the grocery store, so I opted for lemon. But back to these mushrooms, I threw in some cooked brown lentils, a little bit more chili to taste, more paprika, smoked paprika, garlic powder, parsley, salt to taste. As you can tell, I was really just adding all the flavor that I possibly could. It was just a taste as you go type meal. And that's okay. As you may be able to tell, the quality of my video isn't as good as my most recent ones, and that's just because I am recording from my iPhone once again. Nothing's wrong with my camera, I just lost my camera battery charger and I've yet to be able to find one. So we're back to iPhone vlogging, and it brings me back to the good old days when I first started YouTube. After a couple tacos, I munched on some chocolate cake. This was the most dense, intensely sweet cake ever, and I only got through about half of it. As many of you guys know, I've been using AG1 on a daily basis. They've been my vitamin regimen for 2 years now, which, you know, is pretty significant. And I love them all the way around. So thank you so much to them for sponsoring today's video and also supporting my health and my channel. Why I love them though, let me have a little testimony here. One, the taste. They taste like pineapple and vanilla. It's very subtle and light and lovely, and they don't use any sugar or artificial sweeteners in the product, which I think is incredible. I also love the ease of the product. With one scoop, I'm getting my multivitamin, my multi-mineral, my adaptogens, my immune support, my cognitive health support, my greens, my pre and probiotics. Like, it's just everything in a little scooper that you put in some water, you shake your bottle up, and you drink it, and there you go. I also very much love the company values.
They test for 950 impurities and contaminants in the product compared to the industry standard of 10. Let me just back that up there for a second. The industry standard is 10. You can count 10 on your fingers. You don't really want to count 950 on your fingers. That would take a lot of fingers to do. I've said it once and I will say it again. My gut health, for one, 2 thumbs up for that. And my skin health. I've been suffering with eczema since I was 11 years old, and now that I've been taking AG1 for a couple years, I've truly seen a difference. So my body just feels supported by the product, and I'm not perfect. Sometimes I eat my trigger foods because they're yummy. AG1 helps combat that. They are also on a pursuit of excellence. They have, that seems really dramatic, but they've gone through 52 variations of the product. And let me just say this, they have one product. The company has one product. And with their outreach, they could easily have like 100. They're not trying to push a jillion other things on you, and I think that's very admirable for a company nowadays. They have the support of their medical and scientific advisory board as well, which includes some, famous doctors like Dr. Andrew Huberman and Peter Attina, along with their whole in-house scientists, doctors, researchers. They've just got everything going on to pursue this goal of an amazing product for you, for me, for all of us. For all of these reasons, and of course the ease of the product, I love them so very much, and I think that you will too. That's why I'm constantly preaching about them. So you can click my link down in the description box, or use this fancy new age technology of a QR code. Scan that with your camera. It'll bring you to their site, and with your first purchase, you will get a welcome kit. And I think that's so awesome. An AG1 shaker bottle, a canister, which you can store your AG1 powder in, 5 travel packs, along with a vitamin D3 K2 liquid dropper. And when you subscribe, you will save $20. They also have a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's nothing to worry about. Truly, you can try them risk-free with their 90-day money-back guarantee. That is so incredible. So click my link or scan this QR code, and yeah, let's take AG1 together. Thank you so much to them for sponsoring today's video, supporting my health, and yeah, hanging out with me, and all my weirdness. I don't know why I'm.
Continuing on my Thai tea obsession and these delicious tacos. I didn't get any footage of me rolling up my tacos, like building my tacos last night, and that's simply because my iPhone storage has been, it's been a little bit of a hassle for me. However, we're getting a handle on it, and here we are now. As you saw, the leftover base mixture, added some vegan mayo, avocado, red cabbage, cucumber, cilantro, and a little bit of extra leftover salsa. These guys were so flavorful, especially the next day, because all of the flavors in the base mixture had time to marinate and soak into each other, and so good. Highly recommend the lentil mushroom mixture for the base of tacos. And you can just be like me and spice things as you go. It really does not matter that much. Taste as you go. That's my favorite way to cook. A little bit later, I munched on an orange and then had some sourdough bread with a balsamic olive oil mixture. A little bit of salt, a little bit of black pepper in there. The perfect snack. For dinner tonight, I had another friend over, so I'm making a tangy orange rice noodle tofu dish thing, and that's the official name. Marinating my tofu with orange juice, soy sauce, garlic powder, and some chili to taste. Setting that aside, doing its thing while I chop up a bunch of veggies. Doing half of an onion, 3 carrots, because carrot and orange, I just find they go together so well. Also chopping up a yellow pepper for lots of color in this dish. And again, I was having problems with my iPhone storage on this night, and I had a friend over and I'm trying to cook and film. It was just like a whole mess of things. But I fried up my tofu, added the sauce at the very end, and then got my onions and other veggies into the pot after I removed the tofu, and eventually mixed everything together with this sauce, and the recipe for the sauce is on screen. Orange juice, lime juice, sugar, miso paste, toasted sesame oil, and of course, chili to taste. Your bowl looks so much more aesthetic.
Falling to pieces in my room. Are you coming over? That's cool. I could use a little something to do.
If you don't know, I went on a beautiful 5-day hike in Namibia. I was out of service and like camping for 8 or 9 days, but the hike in and of itself was about 5 days, and it was 85 to 90 kilometers over the course of the 5 days. So in and of itself was a rough, it was a hard hike. It was, not an easy adventure, especially because of the heat of Namibia and drinking river water and all of those things. Nonetheless, it was absolutely amazing, and like mentally felt amazing. But yeah, it was hard on the body. And plus it was a malaria zone. So I was taking malaria prevention medication, and that stuff is hard. That stuff is hard on the body. Some of the biggest side effects are vomiting, diarrhea, nausea, and headaches, and I experienced all of those. They really set in on the 3rd day of the hike, and I was like vomiting every half an hour or so, and it was just, really hard. And I didn't stop feeling nauseous until after I stopped taking the medication, and even so, I was having like very random bouts of nausea. It wasn't as intense or rough, like I wasn't vomiting, but it was just like I would eat and feel like woozy, and it would pass, maybe half an hour later. But yeah, like I haven't stopped feeling nauseous every single day since I've gotten back. I've also had random intense cramping in my stomach and problems pooping, TMI, but there's just something off. There's something wrong right now, and I am today and yesterday feeling particularly awful. I don't know if it's because like my body was already on the verge of like becoming this, but then I went on like a 4.5K run the day before last, and I think that just like took all of the energy out of my body, and like it felt harder than it should have, but I felt okay on the run. But then like the next day I was just like not okay, and after the run particularly I was like, this was rough, man. But had a bath, and after about an hour I started feeling better. So long story short, my partner's brother is the last year of becoming a doctor, so he did a little examination on me yesterday and came to the conclusion that I should probably go see somebody, especially because I have a loss of appetite and my stomach on the right hand side is particularly sensitive and cramping. So appendix was thrown around, but at the same time we more so are leaning towards the malaria medication and potentially liver problems. I don't know. Yesterday I had the tea that I filmed with those cookies, which I didn't even finish because I started feeling nauseous. I had some chocolate, I had 1 orange over the course of like several hours, and some bread with olive oil and a bit of balsamic vinegar. That's all I ate yesterday, and today it's like 1 p.m. I've had a quarter of the coffee that I poured because I started feeling sick. I've been trying to drink a lot of water, and I ate some bread again with olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and it seems like the only thing that I can eat that I don't feel nauseous after. Like the orange made me feel nauseous, the chocolate I was just craving, and it also made me feel nauseous. But I don't know, like I just got a headache. Yeah, I'll keep you guys up to date.
And finally, I feel like I can eat normally again. So I'm coating some firm tofu with some pea flour, garlic powder, salt, smoked paprika, a little olive oil, giving that a nice toss, and then getting it onto a makeshift baking sheet that is literally a cutting board wrapped in tinfoil because I don't want to buy a baking sheet. Because if you don't know, I am a wandering soul in this world and I travel, and I'm currently in South Africa in Cape Town, but this is not my home. This is not my forever destination. I can only be here until July. And then what am I going to do with a baking sheet? I'm going to waste money on a baking sheet, and then you get my point. Anyways, let's make a little sauce with miso paste, olive oil, orange juice, pickled ginger, splash of soy sauce, and a little water that I just use to kind of dissolve the miso paste. Mix a bunch of veggies together, some lettuce, some red cabbage, red onion, cucumber. I don't know why, but I just feel so much better when I have red cabbage in my life, when I'm eating red cabbage on a regular basis. It's probably just all of the delicious antioxidants that are in there. The color, the more colorful your food, I feel like the healthier you are. But that's just my personal opinion. I also mixed some orange, threw my tofu in there, threw some sesame seeds, mixed everything together, and
Guys, one, feeling a lot better today, so this is a good improvement. I feel like I look so skinny. Oh, ooh, that creeps me out. That creeps me out. Okay, but this salad is so good. Like, it's so refreshing, very light, not too powerful in flavor, or, you know, because it's raw vegetables, it's probably not the best for my gastro problems right now, but I think it's very healthy, nutritious. So let's just hope that everything goes well. Highly, highly recommend this one.
a little bit later, I munched on the leftover tofu bits with some chutney sauce, and then let's get on to making dinner after we have a little kombucha break. Again, I'm trying to rebuild my gut health right now. I'm trying to include more fermented foods. It doesn't really say much that I shoved a bunch of tofu in some sweet and spicy chutney sauce before that, but hey, I'm a girl. I try my best, and chutney sauce is really good, so food freedom. But anyways, I massaged some kale, some lemon juice and olive oil and salt, got some red onion in there. Also, squeezing avocado out of its skin is extremely satisfying and I highly recommend it. Overcooked some lentils, but they're fine. Threw them in there too. Little drizzle of balsamic vinegar and some nutritional yeast. And this is my light and yummy dinner. Although I don't film it every single day because it's just way too repetitive, and sometimes I like to have a little moment for myself, I have AG1 to start my day. And I have been loving my Thai tea in the morning. I just think it's such a little beautiful kick. It has a little bit of caffeine, but not as much as coffee, so I feel energized, but not like ready to run a marathon. I had one of these Husk brand little cookie things. My girlfriend that came over for the noodles that one night actually gifted me these, so thank you to her. They're delicious. After a little bit of computer work, I got on to making breakfast. I had 2 Japanese sweet potatoes that really needed to be cooked, so I threw them into a pot with a little bit of olive oil and salt, gave that a little rub, and then chucked them into the oven. At the end of the day, just cook them until they're done cooking. I don't need to explain this to you. You don't want raw sweet potatoes, so cook them at whatever temperature your heart desires and just check on them every once in a while. I had some leftover lentils from the taco night that didn't have any spices or mushrooms or anything mixed in, just plain lentils. Threw that on top of my Japanese sweet potato along with some red onion. As you may be able to tell, I really love red onion. I'm not ashamed. It is amazing, and I know everyone has different taste buds and it's okay. For my sauce, I mixed together half of an avocado, some vegan mayo, lemon juice, chili to taste, and some garlic powder as well. And then slathered my sauce on top of everything. Also sprinkling on some cilantro stalks, I guess you would call them. But the whole cilantro plant can be used, so don't waste it. Use it all. On this night, I decided to take myself out on a little solo date. I'm currently working on my relationship anxiety, which I'm really excited to talk about in a future vlog. I have nothing wrong with being physically alone. I actually really enjoy doing stuff by myself. And to be honest, I prefer living by myself right now. But for me, it's about managing expectations in relationships that I'm really trying to dive into. What I want, how to set boundaries that are healthy, how to not be overwhelmed in the beginning of a relationship, how not to move too fast out of love and care and excitement, but to feel safe enough within myself that I'm not deeply triggered in a love relationship. I don't feel anxiety around my friends because I have friends that don't make me feel anxious. So why do I choose partners and lovers that make me feel that way? This is a question I'm trying to solve. And to be honest, I already know the answer. Childhood trauma. We're still trying to fix it. Anyways, hello, good morning. Welcome to the next day. Made myself hot chocolate on this morning. And if you know me, you know I love my hot chocolates. But let's talk about breakfast. A cup of oats, vegan vanilla protein powder, half of a Japanese sweet potato, some ripped up dates, chopped up cashews and almonds, mashing that all together, throwing a cup of water in there, which I would say a little bit less than a cup. They were a little bit soft. I could have baked them for longer, but I think just less water could have been fine. I also threw some frozen blueberries into the mixture, oiled a baking dish, and then chucked the mixture in there, sprinkling it with some cinnamon, sugar, and a little bit of salt because I forgot to put salt in the actual mixture, so just sprinkle it on top. It's all good. Baked it for 25 minutes and then served myself up one. They did thicken up when they cooled. If I had a little bit more patience with it and not serve it up when it was piping hot straight out of the oven, then I guess I could have shown you a nicer shot, but hey, girl wanted to eat. For lunch, I really needed to eat some leftover noodle stir fry, so I just warmed it up and ate it straight out of the pot while I was doing some footage organization, just trying to manage the storage on my phone. And PSA, dried pears are the best. Absolutely. If you've never had a dried pear, I have never until this past week, and they are phenomenal. Since I was 19, I thought that I was allergic to beets, but my naturopath told me that there's something to do with the amount of something that you eat and your body's reaction to the load of it. And she thinks that the load that I ate was just so big. It was like a huge beet salad. Like I ate like 5 beets in one sitting. And she suggested that I just try to include beets for all of their amazing properties. And if I have a reaction, then great. We know that you're 100% allergic. If you don't have a reaction to like a quarter of a beet, then you're probably fine. So anyways, as you saw, I put some beets in some boiling water. And while I was waiting, I munched on a little salad and some leftover cake. And now let's continue with the rest of dinner. Rinsing a can of white beans. And before the beets were fully done, I threw my pasta in because it only took about 9 minutes to cook. And then I didn't have to reboil water or anything. Just did it in the same pot, and then they were both ready. Strained them both, set them aside in a bowl, got some olive oil into that pot because one pot means less dishes. Threw some zucchini in there, sprinkled them with salt. In with my zucchini, I threw some garlic, fresh oregano, and fresh thyme. And then started finely chopping my beets. Not all of them though, I only did half of one to not overload my system and have a very crazy reaction to beets again. Threw them into the pot along with half of a bag of spinach, a little splash of the beet pasta water that I saved, and then just had that on low heat while I made my sauce. Mixing together some plain hummus, tahini, half of a lemon's juice, a little splash of water to thin things out, black pepper, and some chili to taste. You can 100% spice this up if your heart desires, but because I added the fresh oregano and thyme, I felt like the flavors were going to be herbaceous, and I didn't want the sauce to overpower that. And ooh, the color was amazing. I would highly recommend actually blending the beets in with the sauce mixture. If you have a little NutriBullet blender, that would be incredible. Again, I'm a traveling, wandering soul and don't have a blender available to me, so I just had to finally chop my beets. But if you want like a bright and creamy red sauce, that would be so beautiful, and I am envious of you if you can do that. Let me know down in the comments if you try any of today's recipes, and thank you so much for your love in advance. I am doing so much better, so no need to worry about me. I love you, I appreciate you, and hope you have a beautiful rest of your day. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. See you soon. Mwah!